Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this video is basically a step-by-step tutorial of how to set up the karaoke program Winamp. I'm going to start off. I've fired up the laptop and let that warmed up. This is, I do believe, it's a Windows 8, but this program very flexible. I've successfully loaded this onto Windows XP as well as Vista and Windows 7. I think this is the new generation Windows 8. I'm just going to go in front of the camera and show you the hard drive that we're loading on. Little 1 gigabyte terabyte Toshiba hard drive. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plug that in and let it recognise the hard drive. When you're first setting up, choose a port because there's always got to be a relationship between the program we're setting up and the hard drive. And the two golden rules for successful usage of this hard drive and the program is choose a port. Be it the most convenient one, the one away from your mouse port, for example. Choose a convenient one you remember, even label it up in some manner, and always use that port, and always plug it in first. So if you're using your karaoke and your hard drive, make sure before you switch your laptop on or after your laptop's been switched on, just making sure it's the first thing you plug in, because what we will be doing when we're setting the program up, and then we shall be loading all the songs in the hard drive into the program, and it will remember it by a unique address. And I shall show you shortly of the relationship between the two. In the top left hand corner of this laptop, the familiar My Computer or this PC button, I'm going to open that and just give you a rough idea of the sort of setup of the computer. On this particular one, like most, it will be made up of certain numbers in your drives and devices sort of section. C usually is the hard drive of the computer. On this one we've got something called recovery, which is labelled up as D, and I think that's something to do with Microsoft. And further on you've got the DVD disk drive, and the computer has labelled up that as E. Now with us just plugging in the hard drive for the karaoke, it's labelled it up as F. So what happens is the next item that's plugged in will be of any sort of memory storage, be it an SD card or an internet connection dongle, flash drive, anything like that. It will then go from F to the next available one, which will label up as G, and then H, and then J, and so on and so forth. So that has labelled it up as F, and when we copy all the songs into the program that we're just about to set up, that will always recognise it as being F. So it's the first thing you plug in is your hard drive. You will not be in a position where it won't be playable, and if it does, it's a simple case of switching everything off and just going through the motions again, making sure it's the first thing you plugged in. So that is a bit about that. So what we're going to do first is set the program up. Now if we go into My Computer and go and actually open and go into the contents of the hard drive that we've just plugged in, we've got 3 items. I'm actually changing the structure of the contents as to add the video update, which I'm just recording now, into it, but it will still contain the same sort of contents. The bottom one is basically all the information that was already in the hard drive at the time of purchase, which anybody would find in any hard drive that they purchase. Drivers for Apple Macintosh facilities, and there could be items for clouds and backup systems, that sort of thing. But I never delete them. I leave them in just in case anybody does need them for some reason or other. Excuse me. The middle one, the middle box, is what I call the Karaoke collection, and I've just recently updated that only this morning at daft o'clock. I'm going to open that just to give you a brief insight as to what the contents are. These is where I place all of the albums that the karaoke is contained in. You've got all of your manufacturer's codes, that sort of thing, and there's 3,902 of them in this particular collection as of the 27th of May 2015. So that is where all the actual albums are located. Top one is the one we'll be working with firstly, which is labelled up Karaoke Backup Programs. The way I set it up now, we will be transferring two of the programs into the computer, into this computer, and as you're following it into your computer. But because we're only copying them, we will leave the original programs in the hard drive just in case for some reason you need to swap hard drives, swap computers, or you have a new computer and you want to transfer it. They're always there in a nice convenient location. We'll go into that first of all. So here's a little bit about what the contents are in the programs. Two we'll be needing. That in fact is Old Hat. Should have got rid of that this morning because that's no longer necessary. The first one I always leave in. It's a favourite of mine. It's a music playing program called Mixmeister, and I leave that in because it's a very uncomplicated program. Whatever music you have, throw into its library, and you can sort them out into a playlist, and it will mix them one by one into each other very cleverly. Ideal for parties and New Year's Eve sort of thing. So I'll leave that, and there is a YouTube tutorial video set up for that if you should so wish. That's easy to find to set the music up. Anyway, the last one is a pacemaker, which is like a key changer, a pitch changer. That can be added depending on what sort of level you want to do your karaoke at and for what purpose, but that can be bolted on to the Winamp program we're just about to set up and just change the key or the tempo slightly of the actual song that's playing. But for now we're going to leave that right where it is. I'm going to close this down a little bit because what I'm going to do, I'm going to have two windows opened up side by side. I'm going to go back into my computer because what I'm going to do right now is to set up the two programs that we need and set them up in the actual computer. So I'm going to go into Windows C, which is the hard drive for the computer. I'm going to go into program files, although there's two in here, one that says x86. I think that is something that Windows controls, but program files is perfectly good for me, and that's on all formats, be it XP, Vista, Windows 7. That's the one I usually put it in. So I'm going to double click that, go into there, and you'll see all your other bits and bobs that makes up the program list of your computer. Now with the control button, I'm going to go back into my programs and I'm going to highlight two, and it's going to be Winamp Karaoke program and a CDG plugin. Now the CDG plugin, that controls the graphics for Winamp. So I'm going to highlight them both and right click to select. It'll give me the options, and I want to copy those two programs, and I want to go into my program files and then option button again, which is a right click, and into it'll give me the options, and I want to paste. So left click to select paste, Yeah, continue, and it's slowly copying over both the programs that we need. Yeah. Right, okay, so both programs are in. First one at the bottom, the little pink hat, no name to it, CDG plugin. This is quite a strange one. I've never had any confirmation this actually works, but it's never failed. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to right click as an option, and I'm going to open, and I'm going to go next, and it says it can't open it, XYZ. Retry, abort, OK, and then I'm going to open again, run as an administrator, yeah, and just go through the motions, and that's usually, although it's giving you no positive indication that it's all set up, it usually is. Anyway, that's the strange one. Anyway, back up to Winamp Karaoke program. I'm going to left click and open that. Now, right at the bottom, there should be two folders called Winamp and Winamp A. Winamp is the one we want. It's the application, and it's the larger file of the two. Now, Winamp, I'm going to right click again, and I am going to send to the desktop to create an icon shortcut. I'm going to drop that down, and lo and behold, at the top, Winamp shortcut. Now I'm going to rename that. I've just right clicked again. I'm going to rename, and I'm going to call it Winamp Karaoke rather than the shortcut. Just type that in, Winamp Karaoke, then I know exactly what that is. Now then, I'm going to double click that and open it. Now what should happen, bang on cue, I'm going to drop the other box for the time being. I won't be needing that just yet. You've got so many different skins. Personally, I would choose Winamp Modern. Very easy on the eyes, and it's very clear. And I'm going to go next. All those can be left in. I'm happy with that. Next. I'm not going to bother with that, and I'm just going to press finish. Now what will happen now is it will be setting up the Winamp program for us. Now this Winamp program, allow that, that's just my protection on the computer. Now this Winamp program, although it's an old generation program, I've been using it for 15 years, it's come a long way, and it's so versatile that it does plays video, it plays music, it's got online services, podcasts, you name it, even a radio attached to it. But we're going to tailor it to how I would use it. You have no items in the media library. I'm going to add that later. Don't show me again. Press that and close. Now then, hide information at the bottom, get rid of that. Now there's one very, very important button that we need to highlight in this section. Now if I lift that up, there's one button, and it's the third one down, and it's called Local Media, and that is the one that we require. This section down here is for the internet, shoutcast, podcast. We don't need it, so I'm going to hide it by closing that box down. Now then, so we don't press any of these other buttons by accident, I suggest that we grab the grey wall and cover them in. After a couple of days, if you find that it's changed the format, somehow it's not the same as when you left it, just go into the bigger box, peel the curtain back, and just check that we're still on local media. Sometimes when the computer, and they all do, they go into update mode. When you close your computer down, it will say updating 1 of 4. Sometimes once it's updating and sorting itself back out, it can press one of these by accident. It's normally when a computer has updated itself that it knocks the button off kilter and it resets. So if we just pull that back, make sure it's on local media, and you should get your search box back, all of your songs in here, etc, etc. Now everybody's different. Now I'm going to set this up how I would normally set it up. I'm going to split the boxes that it's given us into 3. I thought one was hiding. Album art is something I would close down because it's not really relevant to the usage of karaoke. So 3 boxes, and what I want to do is just briefly describe exactly what each box does. First one I'd describe is your player, your Winamp player, and I would shove it in the corner out the way. It's got your usual features on. It will tell you what song is playing. It will tell you how to stop it, to forward to the next song. It's got a volume slider, mute button, etc, etc. And if you was to get a little bit sexy with it, you've got the graphic equalizer button just on that little tab there, and you can set your sound up according to however you're going to use your karaoke and by what means. So you can set that up as you so wish. So that is your player. 2 important buttons on there, and again, sometimes when your computer will update itself, you'll open up your karaoke box and all you'll see is your player. Where's your box? Where's the boxes gone? And sometimes when it updates, it knocks your 2 boxes off. One of them being your big box, which is where all of your songs in your collection will appear once we've loaded them in. They call it the media library. That is your catalogue of songs, and that is always your big box. You need a few good columns there to display all your album titles, your artist names, and your album names. So you've got your media library. The last remaining box is what we call the playlist editor. As soon as you've searched for your song that you fancy playing, and that is in your box there, in your media library, the more information you put down there, the more chance you've got of locating the actual song that you want or the artist you want. So once you've selected your artist, simply drag and drop into your playlist editor, then it's a simple play. Oh, don't want that. It's a simple play, and your desired song will play, and you can add more and more to it. Always play from your playlist editor rather than the media library, because it'll think that you want to highlight and select everyone in there, and it can get a bit lengthy. Now before we start with the actual songs, what I will do is declutter the column panel. You don't need all of these. I've personally edited every song in the collection, which stands at 56,000 at the moment, and they've all been in plain English, minimal punctuation, only when it's entirely necessary, but the columns are too many. So just by right clicking on the column bar, it comes up customize columns, left click to select. Now I'm going to start getting rid of all the ones I think we need and all the ones I know we don't, because there's no information in them anyway. So I am going to select track number, not necessary, and I'm going to press remove. Genre, no information in there, I'm going to remove it. The rating, the play count, when you last played the song, what year, gone. Okay, that gives us 4 columns, which is artist, album, title and length. Now you can arrange them exactly how you want to, and I'm going to arrange them like that. Title of the song first, then the artist, what album. So if you was to put in American Pie, every track that's labelled up American Pie will come into your search area, and then you can just scan down and see your preferred manufacturer and then drag it over and then play it. So basically that is how I would set my Winamp program up for karaoke. I'm going to shut that down, and then I'm going to double click it again, and that will reopen how we left it. There we go. Now then, I'm going to shrink that down a little bit, and I'm going to go back to my box, which was that one. I'm not used to this computer, so that's why we're a bit. So this, if we was to exit this, we'd get back to the first box, the contents of the karaoke hard drive that we've plugged in earlier. So with the program set up, I'm going to go into the collection of albums, double click that, back to the albums, any one, I'm going to go for that one. I'm not going to paste them all in, it's the same operation, I'm just going to do one. I'm going to drag and drop into the media library, then all of a sudden it's loaded them up. So just for the time being, we've got one album out of the 3,900. Shift my boxes around so I can see all the information, and there we have it. That's the first album in. Before I throw everything into the hat, I'm just going to make sure that it plays. Top song, George Michael, amazing. Drag him in to the playlist, then I'll double click, and bang on cue, the graphics program is there, ready for playing. Sound. There we go. Now the screen is currently at the bottom where I positioned it. I double click, goes full screen. Now obviously, depending on the setup that you wish, on all modern computers there is a HDMI cable which goes from your laptop, which will go into any modern television, and there is a second screen. If you was to personalize, and all these settings are a little bit different, display, change display settings. This is it. And then once your HDMI cable is in, you can use your laptop for the purpose of your control area. So you can be, while somebody is singing, you can be searching for another song, and by using this setting there will be another number 2 once your television is on, and once your HDMI cable is in, there will be number 2 there, and then you can attach the second screen to the first screen, apply it, OK it, and then what will happen, and you'll be able to see numerous demonstrations of this on YouTube, once your song is playing, you can then drag it, and as soon as it starts going off this screen, you'll see it start to come on your main screen. Then you can just simply open it out, because you'll be able to see your cursor on the other side of the television. That would leave your Winamp program open so you can start searching for other songs. So that is basically, I'm going to stop that now, and that is basically, so you know it works. So then all it is to do is select all, remove from library. Yes, that will get rid of everything. And then the only thing to do then is to throw everything in. So you'd highlight that and then take the whole lot and throw it in. It will take half an hour to load up, and then once that is finished, you will see at the bottom 56,000 tracks. All your songs will be in there. Your search box there, so you can put in anything from Elvis Presley or a song. And it will search. All the results will come down here, and then just select the one and drag it and press play. And then once all that is done, that can be closed off. It'll take half hour to load in, and then once you close it off, the next time you go to open it up, it will be exactly the same as where you left it, ready to go again with the last song. Right, there we go. Hopefully you can pause that and follow it as best you can, and you should have no issues. The two golden rules once again is pick a port for the USB and always plug it in that one, and just make sure it's the first one you plug in and you will not go far wrong at all. Hopefully that's been informative and it's got you up and running, but obviously don't hesitate, give us a shout if anything hasn't worked out right, or we've got lost in everything. Thanks for viewing, and I shall catch you later. God bless.